We're going to call the meeting of the Novi Community School District Board of Education regular meeting Thursday, February 20th at 7 p.m. to order. I would like to welcome everybody here tonight, and if we can get a roll call, Mr. Mena.
Trustee Cook?
Here.
Trustee Hood is absent, excused. Trustee Mena here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Roney?
Here.
Trustee Ruskin?
Here.
Trustee Smith?
Here.
We can please rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if I can have a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Mrs. Murphy and supported by Mr. Cook. We can have a roll call vote, Mr. Mena?
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Roney?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yeah.
6-0.
6-0. Okay, next on the agenda, we have our student board member report. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me
Enjoy
again.
having you here. If you can introduce yourself and share your information, that would be great.
I'm Preston Soy-Salamsek. I'm the president at the Novi Middle School Student Council, and I'm here to give you a report of what's been going on at our middle school lately. So let's begin. The Novi Middle School Math Club had their school-wide math counts competition on January 22nd. The top 10 Novi Middle School students from that were invited to participate in the county-wide math counts competition, which took place for us on February 15th. Let's wish our mathletes good luck and hope some will qualify for the statewide math counts competition. As for the paw print newspaper, the middle school's online newspaper, it's now available on the district's website in a new ADA-friendly format. For next year's DC trip, we have 408 7th graders registered, and we'll be adding a 9th bus for what will be our largest group ever. We also want to thank the Novi Educational Foundation, Novi Youth Assistance, and the Novi Middle School PTO for offering financial assistance to students in need so that more kids have an opportunity to travel with us in 2020. In Spanish 1 classes at the middle school, we are learning about foods in this unit, and we will be trying some Mexican churros and jicama in class next week.
All periods, they'll be eating that food?
I believe so.
Okay, just
Make a note.
just
You
making sure.
He can come.
Superintendent Sumter.
So in semester 1 media tech, students are entering some of their videos in the 52nd annual Michigan Student Film Festival and the MIPA Student Film Festival. We should hear results sometime this spring. 13 middle school students will be going to the Science and Engineering Fair of Metro Detroit on Tuesday, March 10th. They're excited to set out their projects and see where they place. And we're also starting a cricket club this upcoming spring at Novi Middle School. We currently have 80 students who have expressed interest, and this is actually our first year having a cricket club. And as always, the middle school will be hosting their annual variety show on Friday, April 3rd. Students are encouraged to audition via TikTok, which is a new social media platform for those members of the audience that don't know.
Most of the people at this table don't know.
The middle school PTO is sponsoring a new reading incentive program, and with help from the PTO, we're starting the program because we want to encourage reading. So all students have to do is whenever they finish a grade level book, that is not a book that's below their reading level, they tell their English teacher, and they'll ask what book they read and if they liked it. And at the end of each month, 5 7th grade names and 5 8th grade names will be drawn from the box. The winners will win a $10 gift card. And that's all I have for the middle school.
Thank you, Preston.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here again. We appreciate having you.
I
Sounds like
coming
it's busy
here.
over there at the middle school right now.
Yep, it is. It always gets busy in the spring, though.
Have you were you involved in any, like the math counts or the, or the middle school, the tech thing? the science and engineering fair,
I'm involved in the orchestra, but I'm not involved in any of these.
the orchestra is wonderful, but there's a lot. There's a lot to pick from. Are you going to try and do cricket?
Maybe. I heard it's supposed to be like baseball.
Not dissimilar.
can watch a few.
Everybody's just starting.
Yeah,
Watch a few
YouTube videos. She'll be great.
Maybe on TikTok. I don't know.
All right. Thanks, Preston.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Next, we have report to the board. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. Tonight, we are fortunate to have the Novi Band Booster Organization and our Novi Band Director here, Mr. Jamie Griffith and Mr. Matt Dyroff. And they are going to give a presentation to the board on what's been going on with the band program. And it looks like Mr. Dyroff is coming.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before I turn it over to the students and Mr. Griffith, I just want to say a couple words. I've had the opportunity to meet many of you, and even just in my short time here in Novi since last summer. And just wanted to thank you, the Novi community, the administration at the high school, throughout the district. In particular, the students and the parents who are just incredible supporters of the program, and for the welcome that I've received since last summer and coming in and joining the Novi family. It's been an amazing ride these first few months. I'm incredibly appreciative of the support that the district puts in and the board puts into supporting the arts and the music program at Novi. And clearly that's been happening for quite some time to build it up to the standard that we currently have, and that we can continue to grow and develop and so on. So I'm incredibly appreciative for your work with that. Many people know that there was just a wonderful teacher here, Mr. Horrigan, my predecessor, who built the program in the last several years and took it to great heights. And whenever that transition happens, and ushering out someone that's been in the district for quite some time, there are always challenges, and I really want to make mention of the incredible job and navigation through some of those challenging waters of having somebody new in the classroom, that the students have done an amazing job, and as I said, welcoming me, but also helping me learn each day about the community and themselves, and learning how to help them continue to grow, and the great things that they've done in the past, and how I can help them grow in the future as well. The whole community, as I mentioned, has been incredibly supportive, and we've had some great successes this year that you're going to hear about from the kids and from Mr. Griffith. So I'm going to turn it over to the kids here to give you a little presentation. But again, I just want to thank you for welcoming me into the Novi family, and I look forward to being a part of this great community and tradition for many, many years to come. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Kate Lee and Lynette Lee, two of our drum majors for the Wildcat Marching Band. Our third drum major, Adi Sinha, is in the middle. Actually, he's probably trying to rush his way back here right now. He just got done with a concerto competition for North Oakland County. He just got done with his performance. So he's on his way. He might join us. But anyhow, I'll turn it over to the girls. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kate Lee. I'm a junior at Novi High School.
And my name is Lynette Lee. I'm a senior at Novi High School.
And we are missing Adi Sinha, another senior at Novi High School. And we would just like to thank you so much for having us here. It's a wonderful honor to be here. So we started our marching band season in July. We call it the fall marching band, but it starts early on. So we started in the summer with our preseason rehearsals, which were in early July and late June. we introduced our 8th grade members into our band. We also had some welcoming time with Mr. Dyaroff as he was new to our program. And we had a couple hornline rehearsals, which were just woodwinds and brass instruments that performed indoors, and we practiced. And new member mini camp, which were just for new members, the 8th graders, and a couple high schoolers that were new to the marching band, along with our student leaders such as us, drum majors, and our section leaders. And then we had drill camp, which we just focused on learning some drills in a couple days. And we had our big band camp, which is a week-long camp we take up in the beginning of August to just focus on marching band from 9 to 8:30. And then following that, we had our Monday, Wednesday regular schedules following the band camp.
As school starts and the actual fall season rolls around, we actually start performing at the football games that occur at our home games at the high school on Friday nights. During the fall is also when our competitive seasons start. Usually we go to different competitions. This year, our competitions included Lake Orion, Novi Fanfare, which was held at Novi, Clarkston, Plymouth Canton, and finally MCBA state championships. To close off our season, we host an event called Bandorama, where we perform for our parents. We perform our show for our parents indoors at the high school.
A little bit more about our state championships, which was on November 2nd of 2019. We went to Ford Field, and we performed on Lions Stadium, and we earned 5th place in our Flight 1. And that's a picture of us three with Mr. Tyra.
That's great.
And then the concert season rolls around once marching band's over, because end of marching band does not mean band is over. We started our concert band season with a winter band concert, which we've been preparing our pieces since school started. The concert band, symphony band, wind ensemble, and the jazz ensemble played at the concert. And then we have a pre-festival concert, which is next Tuesday, actually, which we perform for our parents what we are going to be performing at the District Band and Orchestra Festival, which is a couple days after that. The concert band, symphony band, wind ensemble, and the Philharmonic Orchestra is going to be performing at our pre-festival concert. And at the District Band and Orchestra Festival, we are going to be performing to judges and getting rated on our performance and getting some helpful comments that is going to help us grow as band. And then our last concert is going to be the Collage concert, which is in May, which is a unique concert, as in that there's going to be lots of different groups playing, such as small ensembles, soloists, that we don't usually get to hear for ourselves and the parents.
An event that was shoved in between the middle of our concert season was All-State, which is at the Michigan Music Conference in Grand Rapids from January 16th to 18th of 2020. At Novi, we had 40 band students audition for a chance to play in the All-State band, which are the top players in the state of Michigan. And out of those 40 who auditioned, 13 were selected into the band program or orchestra program, and there was one honorable mention.
Can I ask you a quick question? I see Mr. Horgan in that picture.
Oh, yeah.
Did he come out to the concert?
He was out at because the Michigan Music Conference is usually a conference that many band teachers go to from all over Michigan, so we were able to meet many band teachers from many different schools.
That's really cool.
Another event is the MSBOA District Solo and Ensemble Festival. This occurred January 24th to the 25th, 2020 at Brighton High School. We had 221 performances across the Novi High School band as well as orchestra, and 205 of those performers were able to earn a 1 or 2 division rating, which 1 is very, very good, 2 is still good. So out of those 205 people, 153 of them qualified for state solo ensemble, which basically meant they earned a #1 rating at the regional level and will be able to move on to states.
These these are some of our future events that's going to be occurring until the end of our school year this year, including the pre-festival concert and the festival next week, the State Swollen Ensemble that we just mentioned in the previous slide. We have a big Atlanta trip from March 26th to 30th, where I think about 100, 150-ish band and orchestra students are going to be taking a trip to Atlanta, Georgia, and be visiting the Atlanta Symphony, and we're going to be performing as well. And we're going to have our annual band banquet where we honor our students and staffs for a hard year of work. We have the Michigan Youth Arts Festival, which we can be nominated to play at from the State Swollen Ensemble, which is in March. And then we have the Grand Collage concert that we mentioned earlier. We have the Memorial Day Parade, which is kind of the transition between the end of this school year and the start of next year, as it's the first marching band related thing we're going to be doing in 2020. We have commencement, which is graduation. The band is going to be playing there to honor our graduates. And then it's going to lead into next year's preseason rehearsals all over again. We would like to thank you guys again on the behalf of our Novi Band students. Thank you to Dr. Matthews, the Community School District, School Board, Ms. Carter, and the NHS administration and faculty for the support. You guys always. Thank you.
Fantastic. But you're looking forward to June.
That little window.
Little window.
2 weeks.
No.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Griffith. I am the current Band Booster president. I'm serving in my second year with this great organization. And our board is made up of 6 officers, including myself are the treasurers, Andy and Bronwyn Steffen, who are here tonight. We have a vice president of volunteers. Her name is Julie Argonis. Vice president of communications, that's Ann and Ian Yeomans. We have a VP of equipment. His name is Joel Rinkle. And our secretary is Jay Despondi. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we really serve 2 roles to support the band. The first is we provide a level of manpower, so to speak, to make our band go. And then the second one is we provide the financial resources that we're able to provide the students with some things that supplements what the district also is providing for us. We have, on top of the boosters, we have a whole fleet of volunteers that all serve different roles throughout the season. For example, we have a whole team of people that helps with things like props and our equipment to shuttle them to and from all of our events. We have a whole team that's in charge of our uniforms, helping the students, get everything set for their competitions and for their performances. We have a group in charge of the fundraising, as well as a whole team of parents that help out with our band camp, which we actually host at the school. And we serve about 1,000 meals over the course of a 5-week period as our students are learning their routines for the upcoming fall season. In addition to that, we provide financial support for the students. So some of our recent examples of things we've provided to the students this year, we provided a new speaker system that the band uses for our marching band rehearsals. We maintain 3 trailers that we take to our various marching band and concert events. This year we provided the resources to have our drill designed and our music arranged for our marching band season. Mr. Dyroff partnered with us in recommending some software that we purchased for the marching band, along with dot books, which help instruct our students to learn the show that they're going to be performing at the football games and at our competitions. We also provide subsidies for all of our students who are taking private music lessons. So we actually will reimburse them a portion of the cost of those private lessons. And then this year we had 9 seniors apply for one of 3 $500 scholarships that we're going to be awarding to our students at the breakfast coming up this spring. All of that financially is from two main sources. One, we have fees that we charge our band students to participate in the program, and we have four major fundraisers. So our budget for this year is about $183,000. The majority of it comes from the fees, but then about $48,000 is raised throughout the year through basically four major fundraisers that we do. The first is Fanfare. Many of you have attended that. That's typically in October. This year we hosted 18 visiting bands, which brought along roughly 50 buses and 50 trucks and trailers of equipment. We had about 1,875 students perform at our high school this season. We sold about $7,000 worth of concessions. We had about 150 different parents volunteer for anywhere from 3 to 10 hours at the event. And it's really become a major community showcase of all of our facilities and really all of the great parents that are part of our program. Next, we have our Winter Invitational, which we had a few weeks ago. We had about 75 parents volunteer for that. We hosted about 50 different groups and raised a good amount of funds for our program. And then we have two bottle and can drives, one in the fall, in September, the other one is in May. And we've been doing it for, I think, close to 30 years now. We canvass literally every street in the city of Novi, and we managed to collect, process, and return about 65,000 bottles and cans, which goes right towards our kids and through the program. So that's effectively how we raise our funds. On the notice of the band fees, I think one thing we pride ourselves in is that our fees are $500 for the year for our students. And in comparison to the other programs in this area that also compete at the same level as we do, you can see like West Bloomfield charges more than twice what we charge. Lake Orion, about $1,100, and Plymouth Canton to our south, their fees are almost 3 times what ours are. So our philosophy is we want every student to have the opportunity to perform with our organization, and we think we can deliver a really great experience for our kids, and we try to keep our fees down by doing the fundraising events that we do. And with that said, I do want to thank our school board and our community for everything that they provide us throughout the season that helps keep our fees low. You help us transport our students to all of our marching competitions, to our Band and Orchestra Festival coming up next week. You provide a portion of the drum major camps that our student leaders go to in the summertime. You provide all the competition and festival fees that we have to pay to enter these things, food and custodial services that we use during band camp, and fanfare and invitational. You don't charge us for using the facilities. Some local communities are no longer able to host because their districts actually charge the program to use their facilities, and I think we take that for granted that we're able to raise funds because you provide us these facilities to host these great events. There's broad support by our administrators and the band, the Board of Education members, and you also allow us to participate and have a seat at the table at the monthly inter-council meetings. We're able to meet other PTO members throughout all the buildings in our district and share ideas with one another and really tell them a little bit about our program, because it really starts at the upper elementary level. And to develop and have a program as great as ours is in Novi, it really takes a trickle down all the way down through the elementary level. So we really want to thank you for all those support. And I'm also a dad of 2 students, one who's graduated, one who's in the program, and I've been a part of the community for 15 years now. And I want to thank you all for all the support. I've seen many of you at lots of events over the last 15 years, from band concerts to musical performances to soccer games in the cold and in the rain and in the cold rain throughout the years. And I think really one of the great things about Novi is the broad-based community support we get from our teachers and from our board members and our administrators. We're really, really lucky and fortunate that we're able to partner with the community in such a level to really, I think, give such a great opportunity for our students. So I wanted to thank you all as a dad and as a band booster representative for all the opportunities that you provide for our students. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think that was a nice report and pointing out the partnership and the collaboration that can be had, as Mr. Griffith pointed out. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate all you do. We know you are a volunteer as well, and so you're an integral part of this program, which, you know, has been really showcased to show everybody just the opportunities that we have here. So we appreciate that. And welcome, Mr. Dyroff, even though it's a little late in the game. But we appreciate having you here, and we've been hearing rave reviews about the opportunities and you carrying on the legacy of this program. So any comments? Yes, Mr. Meno?
Yeah, we are very fortunate that we do just a fantastic job hiring folks in this district. And I was telling Dr. Kinzer maybe last summer when we were going through the hiring process that it really doesn't matter how good of a job he does. If he screws up this band, and I mean, you're laughing, but I'm serious. You screw up this band hire, you're in a heap of trouble. And but from all the feedback that we've gotten, I mean, we've hit an absolute home run. So we're very fortunate to have you in this district. It's good to see Mr. Griffith as your band booster president. I've known him for over 20 years. I used to work with him back in the late 90s. Another thing I wanted to say is I reached out to him when I saw his last name after we hired him, because come to find out that Mr. Dyroff's uncle, he has an uncle named Joe Dyroff, and Joe Dyroff was he was literally called Detroit's most famous cheerleader. He was a really big Detroit sports cheerleader back in the 80s and into the 90s. I think he passed away in 1997. So it was kind of interesting making that connection. Being a big Detroit fan, I run into him all the time in areas of the city. So it's kind of nice, kind of cool to know about that connection as well. But thank you. We're really grateful to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all of you. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
So this is our first opportunity from comments from the audience related to agenda items. If anybody has any comments they would like to make, give Mrs. Holly the card, fill out a card, and come up to the podium. Seeing no one running to the front, we will continue on. Okay. Next up, we have our consent items. These items include items that have previously been considered by the board in committee or at prior meetings. They're of such routine nature that discussion is not required. Board members may request that any item be removed from consent for further discussion. Tonight on our consent agenda, we have approval of minutes from regular meeting minutes of February 6th, 2020, approval of field trip Winter Guard International Regionals, and approval of bills, both the board report, check register for January 2020, and purchase card report for November 30th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019. So if I can have a recommendation? Mrs. Murphy?
Move to approve consent items A through C as presented.
Support.
And we have recommendation by Mrs. Murphy, support by Mr. Mena. If we can have a roll call, Mr. Mena?
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Roney?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
6-0.
Okay. Next up, we will move on to our action items. Personnel report. Dr. Matthews.
We have a very brief personnel report this evening. Dr. Kinzer.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. This evening we have a recommendation for a personal leave of absence. for Audrey Akasu, 5th grade teacher, Novi Meadows, for the 2020-2021 school year.
Thank you. Can we have a recommendation, please? Mrs. Murphy?
Move to approve personnel report as presented.
Support.
Recommended by Mrs. Murphy and supported by Mr. Cook. Do we have any questions or discussion? Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Mena, if we can have a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cook.
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Roney.
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. And next up, we have our Bond 2019 Contract Award, Architectural and Engineering Service. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. As was discussed at our February 6, 2020 meeting, we have had discussions with TMP Architecture, and Plant Maria Cressa has worked with them along with Ms. Minnick to create their contract, and we discussed the fees at our last meeting, and we would bring this to the board tonight for approval. Ms. Minnick is here to answer any questions that you might have. Additional questions that you might have on this issue, but this came before the board on February 6th, and we believe that the proposal from TMP Architecture fits the parameters that the board had. This was discussed at the Capital Projects Committee as well, and so we believe that this is a good recommendation. TMP Architecture was our architect for the 2014 bond as well, and so we believe that continuing with them will be in the best course of action for the board at this point.
If I can have a recommendation? Motion? Mrs. Murphy?
Move that the Novi Community School District Board of Education award the architectural and engineering services to TMP Architecture, contingent upon the successful negotiation of contract by PMC on behalf of Novi Community School District.
Support. Motion brought forth by Mrs. Murphy, supported by Mrs. Roney. Any questions for Mrs. Minnick or any discussion? Yes.
I just wanted to say, I mean, this was thoroughly vetted in the Capital Projects Committee, and I think we're very, very comfortable with this recommendation. I think it was well thought out.
Do you have a
I
question?
do just have one quick question about the successful negotiation of the contract by PMC. What exactly happens from here with, we've approved this, now there's additional negotiation?
No, we'll just finalize the contract.
Okay.
Already signed, and
Okay.
that would finalize the contract.
That's what I thought. I just, the language was a little confusing to me.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Cook.
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Roney.
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
All right, great. Motion carries 6-0. Next up, we have the bond pricing ratification resolution. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin, and I will turn to Ms. Minnick. We have a special guest this evening to help the board understand this. This was discussed at our February 6th meeting as well. Ms. Minnick.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. The Novi Community School District voters approved the issuance of $185 million in bonds at the November 5th, 2019 election. The district will sell the bonds in 3 series. The first series of bonds will be dated March 3rd, 2020, in an amount not to exceed $75 million. The board adopted a resolution authorizing the issuance and delegating the sale of bonds at its regular meeting on January 9th. That resolution authorized the first of 3 series, the 2020 school building and site bonds to be issued, required a segregated depository account for the funds, authorized the levy of a tax to meet the principal and interest obligations, and set forth parameters for the bond purchase agreement, including a maximum bond term of 25 years and a maximum true interest cost of 6%. Final pricing of the bonds occurred February 12th, with a purchase price of $74,996,609.85 and a true interest cost of 2.69%. Closing will occur March 3rd with net proceeds after costs of issuance are paid of $74,778,266.68. As authorized by the resolution, the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations accepted the offer set forth in the bond purchase agreement. As such, the board must adopt the attached ratification resolution to ratify the acceptance of the bond pricing, the bond maturity schedule, associated costs, and other matters related to the pricing of the bonds as set forth in the bond purchase agreement. This topic was presented for information and discussion at the February 6th board meeting and is recommended for adoption this evening. The ratification resolution is attached. And I will now turn it over to Christopher Iamarino of Trim Law Firm, who is with us this evening to walk you through the resolution and answer any questions you may have. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Ms. Minnick. Good evening, Christopher Iamarino, Trim Law Firm. We have before the board this evening the ratification resolution that Ms. Minnick just described. What I'd like to do, if I may, is give you a brief synopsis of the key paragraphs of the resolution. I invite you, as I'm describing those, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Or if you'd rather wait till the end, if you have questions then, that's fine as well. The first page of the resolution identifies in the whereas section how we got to where we are today. It references the resolution back on January 9 that was identified as the authorizing resolution. It does identify in paragraph 2 of the whereas section that authority was delegated to key administrative officials to consider and potentially accept the pricing if it satisfied the terms that you had set forth in your authorizing resolution. And it also identifies that Stiefel Nicholas, your underwriter, did make a presentation of a proposal that fit those parameters. Then we get into the operative paragraphs. Paragraph 1 identifies, and I won't read through all of the numbering, but as Ms. Minnick was just describing, all of the key pricing detail is described there in that first paragraph. The second paragraph identifies the duration of the bonds. Bond coupons will begin 2022 and go through 2024. Interest will be first payable November 1, 2020. There is attached to the resolution as an exhibit a table that identifies the several maturities and their key rates, to the extent that you'd like to see those. Paragraph 3 identifies the early call provision for these bonds. The concept there is it gives the district the opportunity, should interest rates in the future prove favorable, that the district can refund these bonds with lower interest rate bonds in the future, saving your taxpayers money. And you may recall you've done this several times. In fact, I've had the pleasure of being here before you regarding those types of bond issues. So that's what this is. It's a standard 10-year call provision, which is standard for municipal bonds. Paragraph 4 identifies how early redemption would occur if you ever decide to move forward with such refunding. Paragraph 5 takes care of some preliminary, or not preliminary, but administrative details, provides for blank bonds for the transaction of bond sales on the secondary market, what happens if bonds are lost or stolen from bondholders, how those get replaced. Paragraph 7 identifies how the funds will be handled on the day of closing. Importantly, 7A identifies the payment of your costs of issuance. And then 7B identifies the amount that's going to go into your capital projects account that will be available to undertake the projects that your voters approved. Paragraph 8 authorizes what we call a preliminary official statement. It's a financial prospectus that gives key financial and economic information, not only about your district, but your community at large. I want to acknowledge the administration, both Dr. Matthews and Ms. Minnick, for their hard work in getting this document together. It was instrumental in the pricing that gives the potential bondholders information about your district and what kind of bond credit risk you would be. And to get the pricing, the great pricing that you received, this document was very important. So I want to acknowledge both of them and thank them for their efforts on that. Paragraph 9 identifies that a final version of that same official statement with all the key pricing information will be produced, and paragraph 9 authorizes that. Paragraph 10 identifies that UMB Bank will be your paying agent. Their key role is, as tax monies come in from your tax levy, they take those monies and get those monies into the hands of your bondholders. That's the resolution that we ask your board to consider, the board to consider this evening. Again, if you have questions that you'd like to ask, I'm happy to answer those, but if you're ready to move forward, I will stop talking and allow you to get on with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I do appreciate you walking us through that, though. I don't remember us doing that concisely before. So I do really appreciate that. It's a
My pleasure.
great explanation. And certainly the document that got us such a favorable rating, it's nice to know that that exists. And is it safe to assume that's available to?
We can share that with the board, actually.
Absolutely, yes.
Great.
Mr. Miller?
So what I'll do is I'll move that we adopt the
Great.
attached resolution authorizing the acceptance of the bond purchase agreement and the terms and conditions set forth therein for the Novi Community School District 2020 school building and site bonds. Support.
Okay. It's moved by Mr. Mena and supported by Mr. Cook. Any further points of discussion or questions? Okay, seeing
One
none.
question I would have is, Mr. Marino, when did you decide to grow your beard there?
That's a new addition for the season.
Very distinguished, I might add.
Well, got to cover some of this up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
Pleasure.
Okay, can we get a roll call vote, Mr. Mena?
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Roney?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yeah.
Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you for being here.
Now we've got like 100 million forms to sign, right?
Yeah. We do.
That would be you.
All righty, next up, we have the deferred compensation plan. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you. This comes to the board as an action item this evening, even though we've not had a chance to have discussion. If anyone on the board would like to pull it back because you have questions, we can certainly do that. But we bring it tonight because there is a March 1st deadline, and so I will let Ms. Minnick kind of walk you through what this is.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews. As a result of recent IRS regulation changes involving eligibility requirements for part-time employees, as well as amendments to the regulations surrounding hardship distributions, the district must amend its 403B plan document to reflect the new regulations. The IRS has provided guidance that once a part-time employee is eligible to participate in the plan, he or she cannot be excluded in any later year. Novi Schools already follows this provision, but the plan language must reflect this change. For hardship distributions from participants' accounts, IRS eliminated the requirement of having a 6-month suspension of elective deferrals and the requirement that a participant take a loan prior to receiving a hardship distribution. We are also compliant with these changes, and there are some other minor language modifications that are required and detailed in the accompanying resolution. The IRS regulatory changes must be implemented by 403B plan providers. They are not optional, and it is required that our plan document reflect this new language by March 1st. And I will add, in fact, that the IRS implemented these changes January 1, and we have been compliant since that time, but the IRS rules require that it is adopted by March 1st. Just with timing difficulties, I suppose, I was unable to bring this to you at an earlier date. So I appreciate your considering it for action this evening.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. If we can have a motion.
So you mind if we do a question before motion, only because we're bringing this to action?
Yes,
So
please.
in essence, we're not really substantially changing anything here, right? I mean,
No, we're not.
there's no reason we should have to worry about not having any heavy discussion on this issue. We're just changing language
Right.
to reflect what we've been doing, right? Okay.
So Novi Schools offers a 403B plan for our employees to participate in. And we have a very open, there's not many exclusions to our plan compared to some other employers. So we already follow many of these provisions that the IRS has recently loosened, I guess you could say. And of course, they're mandatory changes anyway, so we need to comply. Just for clarification, we also offer a 457B plan, but these changes are not necessary for the 457 plan.
Alrighty, if we can have a motion.
Okay, I'll move that we adopt the resolution to amend the eligible deferred compensation 403B plan in order to maintain compliance with IRS regulations within established deadlines.
Support.
Recommendation brought forth by Mr. Mena and supported by Mrs. Murphy. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none.
We appreciate the board's consideration this evening.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you getting it to us and getting it on track. So thank you for all the information. Roll call vote, please, Mr.
Trustee
Mena?
Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Roney?
Yes.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Next, we have another opportunity for comments from the audience. This can be related to anything within our jurisdiction here at the board table. Seeing nobody running over to the cards or to Mrs. Holly or to the podium, we will move on. Okay, so next we have our committee reports. Mr. Mena is the chair of the Capital Projects Committee. If you can give us a report, we would love that.
Just had a meeting, so at the meeting we did cover, we did review some previous business, including approved the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. We reviewed the new visioning meeting schedules, so some of the capital project committee members will be attending some of the meetings involved with some of the specific items that we're going to be using bond funds to complete, so that's good. We reviewed administrative bond scope request log. It's a log that we're going to keep of all of the projects that we're going to be working on, or at least considering and working on throughout this bond. We also, PMC was nice enough to create what we call a bond cheat sheet so that we had a good understanding of timing and tracking of all of the different projects. We did discuss the securing a security consultant for some of the upcoming security enhancements that we're going to be doing in the district. And then we also talked about a couple other service consultants that we're going to look to assist us with the bond as well.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just out of curiosity, you mentioned some of the documents that, are those going to be either, I know last year we posted a lot of that stuff online. I mean, is that the plan again? And
The intention is that once we have a very firm project schedule, that we will then communicate that out to the Capital Projects Committee and then the board as a whole.
Okay.
And then we would make our way through the district, just as we did with the bond campaign, and present that information to our administrators and then to each building and their respective groups.
Okay. Okay, just kind of curious how the flow of the communication will be for us as we're moving forward. It's better to see it before.
If I may add, we're working on some of the dashboard too, that we can keep on our website to update our community with just some highlights of recent work and future work.
Great. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I think that, if I may, we've found that working with Plant Moran Cressa has been a real delight, and with Mrs. Minnick and the committee, and it's very detailed with lots of structured plans, and we have a structured committee that I think is working, really flowing fashion. So I look forward to sharing that with the group. Next up, we have superintendent.
Can I just ask one more question?
Yes.
Sorry. So in our board book, will the minutes be posted in there, just like they are for the other committee meetings and stuff?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Next, we have the superintendent's report. Dr. Matthews.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. Last weekend, our Novi High School one-act play won the state championship. Congratulations to Heather McCagg and her students on this great accomplishment. Tonight at Novi High School, the KLAA Conference held its annual Unified Basketball Tournament. This tournament pairs our special education students with our general education students in competitive basketball games played on our performance and fieldhouse gyms. WDIV was there, should have a report this evening on their news, and the Free Press was there, and they should have a report this Sunday on those games. On Monday, I'll host my parent-to-parent book club. This month, the book is Middle School Matters, 10 lessons that middle school parents and students need to learn. And it's available at the information desk at the Novi Public Library, and it begins at 6:30 this coming Monday. There is a robotics open house this Monday as well, February 24th, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Everyone is invited to come to Novi High School to learn about our Frog Force 503 robotics program. And I would encourage our community to get to Macy's at 12 Oaks to support this year's incubator class projects. Items, the On-Purpose Kids, socks, and Sketch and Hatch are available until the end of February.
Thank you. Lots going on.
Those little books would actually be really nice in an Easter basket. If people still do that. So, yeah,
Okay.
very cute.
Administrative reports. Mrs. Minnick.
Thank you, Dr. Ruskin. I'm sorry I don't have a report this evening. Most of my work over the last 2 weeks was showcased previously in this meeting.
As we saw, you've been very busy. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Kinzer?
Thank you. As you know, earlier this month, we selected our 2020 Novi Teachers of the Year, and we are now in the midst of our nomination period for our Support Person of the Year awards. So those nominations are due next Friday, the 28th, and we'll select winners in March.
Thank you.
Good evening. How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Great. So last week I hosted a visit from Jackson Public Schools and Consumers Energy, and they came to view our robotics program at the middle school. And then the second half, we spent 3 hours at Kamau's facility on Grand River, engaged in a tour. And really the idea there is to spend the time to look forward, especially in relation to the bond. What do we need to do to get ready for what might be next? So that was a wonderful time just to really see what's happening. And I haven't been to the plant there on Grand River for about 10 years, and it's just amazing to see the growth in modern manufacturing and how that's working out. Also last week, Miss Melissa Matson, Miss Hopkinstead, and myself went to see Dr. Stephanie Grant for a full day of trauma training and capacity building at Oakland Schools. Say there are about 400 people in attendance, so really heartening to see that this is something that's resonating with people. Currently in the district, we are in our third year of educating our staff around trauma and its impact upon our students and our instructional staff as well. And part of the DIP, obviously, this year that the board signed off on. Mr. Gordon invited me last week to speak to all of the athletic directors in Oakland County around mental health and well-being, so I appreciate the fact that Brian is really an advocate and ally for mental health and well-being in so many different areas and continues to use his positions to influence that conversation. Finally, some sadness tonight, and this is going to be a little bit of a hard one for me. So Wanda Ciancio is leaving us. Wanda is retiring. And for those of you who have been in the community and the district for some time, I'm sure you've all interacted with Miss Ciancio. And she started in our district as a paraprofessional. So Wanda was a para and began her career there. In 2007, really her vision was instrumental to our bond at that time and really doing the blocking and tackling, if you will, of IT infrastructure, which then allowed us to continue to grow going forward. And while she's actually an employee of Oakland Schools, I consider her very much one of the Novi Community School District. She is going to be deeply missed for many, many reasons, aspects that the community might not see. Wanda is one of those people who's been an amazing thought partner for so many people in the district as we think about how to better serve our kids and provide opportunities for our teachers. I asked Wanda if she had a month and unlimited money, where would she go? And she chose Greece, so I hope she gets there. I hope she finds it and has that level of enjoyment. And Wanda, if you're watching, which I doubt you are, much love and respect to you. I will always remember the times that we had that opportunity to look forward to what could be and how you so well executed it. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weber. She will definitely be missed with her positive influence and her smile and what she brings to us here at Novi. We've been lucky to have her. And next up, we have board communication. Any conversation?
I'm going to
Mrs.
tag
Murphy?
on a little bit to the mental health thing. So the Novi Mental Health Alliance has been meeting. Dr. Weber brings it up frequently on a monthly basis. And on March 21st in the morning for 3 hours, there's going to be a special training. So as a part of the offshoot of that group, one of the things that the parents and people that have come that have identified is just kind of the need to have somebody walk with them through the challenge that they sometimes face with their child, somebody who's maybe already walked that path. And so the parent-to-parent program has started. We're calling it Parents Empowering Parents, so it's the PEP program. But they're going to do a training on March 21st. Oh, thank you. So it's basically connecting parents in need with parents who know. And they're going to do a training for those parents that are willing to volunteer their time to be that person for another parent. And it's it's really open to anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody that currently has kids in the school. It could be a grandparent as well, somebody that has perhaps raised a child that has walked through. And then there's a multitude of support topics that they've listed. This is not exhaustive, and I'm not going to read it all, but ADHD. Just walking through that for the first time with your child, adoption or foster care issues, income issues, loss of jobs, separation anxiety, addictions, transitions, moving, immigration, international. It's just the list goes on and on. So I just would encourage, we are hoping to get 25 people it's going to be limited actually to 25 people. A lot of people that are on that Novi Mental Health Alliance have already offered to be there. To volunteer for it, we're just hoping to be able to kind of fill that gap that tends to exist because kids, get help through counselors or medical, whether it's a medical doctor or whatever, but there's not a lot really available for parents, and so we're not trying to be the counselor, but just really trying to be a listening ear for those people that need it, and just to help them feel less alone, which I think everybody that has walked through something really challenging with their child can agree that sometimes just having that other person come alongside you that is willing to listen when you need somebody to talk to and who's already walked that path can be really helpful and not very isolating. So that's the goal. I would really encourage anybody that's listening that is interested in that. There's information. They can go to info@novicc.org. There's information on that because the Novi Community Coalition is a part of that, and they're helping to sponsor some of the training events and stuff. So they're a big partner in that. So that's been on my list of things and activities in the community. Had the opportunity to go to a few hockey games. They won them both. I'm not taking credit, but I think they haven't had as successful a season early on, but they seem to be peaking at the right time. So they've been doing really well, and got to go to the basketball game the other night, which was a nail biter. It was very, very close. A heartbreaking loss by 1 point.
Yikes.
So I didn't bring the same luck there. But anyways, it's always fun to get out and see the kids interacting. And there was a good, for the holiday, thanks to the holiday, I didn't think there'd be many kids there, but there were quite a few kids that showed up. And then the girls team came back to support them too. So it was great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all you're doing. And I know a lot of work has gone into that program, and I think it will help some people in our community on many levels. So does anybody else have anything? Mr. Cook?
Just a brief note. Last week after the basketball game, my son said, "Hey, let's go check out the robotics team." Because they're in there as
All
late
hours.
as they can be working on things. And one of the mentors there really took the time to explain a lot of things to my son. He was very intrigued. But I asked him how their space is going, and they say we love it compared to what we had, but. And I can't wait to get the CAT Center going for them because right now they're working on half a field. So their driver is practicing twice as close to the robot as he's going to be, which is a definite disadvantage on this. They can't fit everything where they need to fit it because they really do need a full field to practice on. And they're not going to get that until very close to their competition when they go to somebody else's field to practice with them. But they are doing awesome. They get to pick up and shoot balls, and the first time they did that with their robot, it was dead on. So I don't know how the kids do it because humans can't do it, but they're doing it with machines, and it's great to see that many kids there that late and that dedicated to a program that they even took us to a room and said, "Hey, we've got all these banners and we have no place to display them." It's kind of a shame that they've won more chairman's awards than anybody else in the world, and we can't display it. And then they show a picture of somebody else's, and their wall is just littered with banners too. So can't wait to give them a spot to where we can display some of their success. So
we're getting there.
We're getting there. Thanks to our community. We'll be there someday soon. Sooner.
The only thing I add on to Willie's thing about security, I was out of town last week and I was watching Channel 5 down in Florida, and I think it was, I think the president had declared it like National Security Day or something, and he has released like 100 items that they feel is, top priority for school security. But they also had a school, I think it was in West Virginia, that new build, but things they've done to, if there was an incident, just simple as not making the hallways like straight. You make indents so kids can jump into them. It's just really eye-opening. So I watched this segment for about a half an hour, and I was amazed at, and he says it's really no more money when you build a building or revamp an old building to make it a lot safer for the kids. So I hope we look at all of those when we start our security measures on all the schools. Oh, and I do know what TikTok is, by the way. Just wanted to let you know.
And I'm sure you'll hold it over the rest of us.
No, actually, because my son and daughter both have it on there, it really eats up your battery quickly when you have it running. So
don't have too much.
So anyways, that's it.
Thank you.
Dr. Matthews mentioned the unified game. I think we were actually hosting a tournament at Novi, and it's probably worth mentioning. We've mentioned it a few times. If you've never had an opportunity to go to see these special need kids play unified basketball, you're really missing out on something. It's just absolutely incredible and fun to watch. And it's amazing too the fan support they have. They actually have. I know this was a tournament, so there's a lot of teams, but they actually have more fans showing up for those unified games than they do for our regular varsity games. It's incredible. So it's great to see the support. And again, if you haven't had an opportunity to see them play, it's definitely worth your time. It's very, very enjoyable.
I think they have a student staff basketball game next Friday, maybe, for the unified team.
Oh, great.
So they're going to be playing against the staff.
Yeah.
Which should be fun. And
yeah.
Might be a fund. I think last year they did it. It was a fundraiser for the Special Olympics or something.
Yeah, in fact, and that's what I was going to say. I ran into the guy who runs the Special Olympics in this area. He was at the event, and he was telling me how they started up a track and field events for the same group. So. Might be something that I can imagine we'll probably be hosting at Novi, since we host a ton of events here. So
Yeah.
Could see that happening very soon.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go to the Unified tournament today, just briefly, and talk to a couple of the coaches, our Novi coaches, and I want to say thank you to them. Their dedication and support to the team is really outstanding. They really do it mostly out of the kindness of their heart and to support these kids. It was really cool to pull up in the parking lot. I went a little bit later right before this meeting and to see all the buses from all over the area in Oakland County and Wayne County, and the parents walking in and just watching the kids and the peer-to-peer support that's going on over there. And they're not just doing basketball. They've talked about doing flag football in the fall and soccer and bocce ball. And so they are really, getting these kids out there and forming a team and working together and learning that social skill and that social piece that all of the kids here at Novi can benefit from just being around other students. And so that's really wonderful. I also had the opportunity last week to go to, it was You Matter Week at the high school. And our Novi Mental Health You Matter Student Committee worked really hard to put together a really great week for the students, and I'm assuming the staff. One of the best parts I heard was the dogs in the counseling office. So they had some therapy dogs, I think lots of them. Mr. Dyroff's shaking his head. I bet he went down and visited as well. And kids got down there and they were able to, spend a few minutes with the therapy dogs. One of the really great things was last Wednesday, some of the students from that committee put together a webinar. And they brought in Dr. Doty, who is a professor at Stanford. don't want to get it wrong. And he wrote a book, The Magic Shop, and it was based on compassion and wellness and his story of where he came from and what he wants his legacy to be. But the best part about the whole thing was watching our students facilitate a webinar and working with him, and they've put together an app on wellness and well-being and have been working kind of with him as their mentor. And just seeing them facilitate a webinar, it was complicated to have somebody, some students from Troy. He was at Stanford. They were here in Novi. The area was packed with parents and students, and really just to kind of facilitate that whole thing to bring a perspective outside of Novi in without having to actually fly them here and using the technology that we have for a really important cause. So it was great to see, and I think they were really, really proud of themselves at the end, you could tell. So that was great. So that being said, I'm
going to play Tom because
okay.
he usually brings
Oh, we didn't even
this up.
ask him if he had
Tom,
anything.
do you have anything?
No, I think you guys are going to support the NYA with a bowling team for the Novi Youth Association. So I think that's awesome. Thank you very much. And that's it.
The Green Gala.
Yes.
On the 21st of
Green
March.
Gala, March 21st, Green Gala, NEF.
Get your tickets.
Get them.
Yep.
If you haven't already, get your tickets.
I just was gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, Marianne's looking out for you, so don't you fret, okay?
She's got my back. I
She
appreciate
does.
that, Fran. Thank
Literally.
you.
Yes.
No problem.
Alrighty, so if I can have a motion to adjourn?
On this World Day of Social Justice, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. Support. All right. And we will ask for roll call to vote, Mr. Mena.
Trustee Cook?
Yes.
Trustee Mena, yes. Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Roney?
Yep.
Trustee Ruskin?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.